Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel, as always, giving you the latest news of course of what players are linked with Manchester United, as we always do on this channel, every single day. So like I did say yesterday, this is a big week ahead for Manchester United, and I also said yesterday I expect Manchester United to complete 2 signings this week. Obviously, some players returned to training yesterday, and we do go on pre-season tour within the next 5 or 6 days and all that. So hopefully, we can get 2 players on the board this week. It's looking very, very imminent that Bruno Fernandes is going to be our third signing this summer. Obviously, we've already got 2 players on the board so far this summer. Obviously, it's our first 2 signings under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Obviously, we've got Daniel James on the board for 18 million, and we've got Wan-Bissaka in a deal with around 50 million pounds. Obviously, this takes Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's net spend up to around 68 million pounds so far this summer. But obviously now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to build on this, and he's going to want to bring at least 3 more new additions to the squad. And I do believe now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities are to add reinforcements in that midfield, and also recommend a central defender in that to come in. Obviously, I think the club need to orchestrate on selling players to help us generate funds and rebuild the squad and all that, because for the majority of this window so far, we've been mainly focusing on the incomings, but I think now we've got to focus on more of the outgoings and all that, to help us raise funds and rebuild the squad and all that, because it allegedly said the other week we've only been given £100 million to spend. Obviously, £100 million is too insufficient. The number of players that we need. Obviously, £100 million is obviously not enough for us to address the deficiencies in the squad. So I do think the club need to consider offloading players. But like I did update you at the early hours of this morning about Bruno Fernandes, positive news has come out about it. Reportedly, Manchester United have reached an agreement for Sporting Lisbon's Bruno Fernandes. It did confirm yesterday Manchester United held negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' representatives. This is according to the Italian press and all that, and now the personal terms have been agreed. The only stumbling block at the moment is the actual transfer fee, because reportedly Sporting Lisbon are demanding, they want around £55 million, and reportedly Manchester United have offered around 35 million euros. Obviously that equates to around 31 million in pounds sterling, but obviously this is too insufficient for Sporting Lisbon, because they want around 55 million pounds. So obviously we're planning to sign Bruno Fernandes for around 23 million pound less than what Sporting Lisbon of course are demanding, but I do believe everything else more or less has been currently agreed. But we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has blatantly made it clear he wants to sign Bruno Fernandes, and he does of course want to sign Sean Longstaff from Newcastle. So it did, a lot of reports were reflecting out last week, saying that we had been in negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' agent and all that, over coming to an agreement on the deal. But Sporting Lisbon have said they want between around 55 or 60 million pounds. Obviously it confirmed the other week saying that Manchester United were reluctant to pay that, but I do believe now it's only Manchester United that are in the running for Bruno Fernandes, because Liverpool, Tottenham and Manchester City of course have withdrawn their interest. Obviously reflecting back 6 or 7 weeks ago, it was looking like that Manchester City were going to get a deal concluded for Bruno Fernandes, but it did get confirmed that City have withdrawn their interest and they are no longer in the running for Bruno Fernandes. Also got confirmed a couple of weeks ago that Liverpool had put a bid in of around 45 million euros. Obviously this equates to around 40 million in pounds sterling. Did confirm the other week that Tottenham had stepped up their interest in Bruno Fernandes. Obviously Tottenham are looking for the replacement for Christian Eriksen and all that. And obviously if Christian Eriksen goes, Tottenham are obviously going to want a replacement for him. But I do believe now Tottenham have withdrawn their interest in Bruno Fernandes, even though they had been in negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' agent. But a lot of reports were reflecting out last week, saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has instructed Ed Woodward, to speed up a deal to sign Bruno Fernandes. But I think from Bruno Fernandes' perspective, he's keen on making the move to Manchester United. I think he's attracted to the history and mystique of Manchester United, and I think he actually favours a move to Manchester United, because probably Bruno Fernandes believes it will be beneficial for his career and all that. Maybe Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United may not now be dependent on what happens with Paul Paul Pogba, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed that even if Paul Pogba does remain at the football club, he still wants to add two new additions in that midfield, because like I said, if Pogba leaves, we're going to need a replacement for him, and if obviously Herrera's leaving, so we're going to need a replacement for him. But like I said, Bruno Fernandes would be the good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, of course, if he goes. Obviously Bruno Fernandes has served 2 years with Sporting Lisbon in Portugal, and he has done really well. But if he comes to Manchester United, he'll bring us them goals that we need in that midfield. He'll also rejuvenate the team and all that. He'll add depth in that midfield and all that. And obviously he's one of our main priority targets, so it's very essential that we do get a deal over the line for him. He scored 31 goals last season, I think, in all competitions, did Bruno Fernandes. Obviously when he was a lot younger, he spent the majority of his career in Italy, the likes of Sampdoria and underneath. I think he also played for Novria. Bruno Fernandes is still under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023, but it did get confirmed yesterday, or was it the day before, that we had lodged a €35 million bidding, which equates to around £31 million sterling. But obviously Sporting Lisbon instantly turned this down, but we have agreed the personal terms and all that, and obviously all we've got to do now is come to an agreement on a transfer fee. But we've been considered the favourites anyway to sign Bruno Fernandes, at least for the last 2 to 3 weeks and all that. But obviously we have not yet come to an agreement on a fee, so it's looking very imminent. He is going to be our third signing this summer. He is primarily an attacking midfielder. He is only 24 years of age, so he has still got a hell of a lot of development in him, and I do believe he's got all the attributes to definitely succeed in the Premier League. Definitely got all the attributes to succeed in the Premier League, and I do believe he will exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. Obviously, he wants to develop a squad of young, hungry, homegrown talents and all that. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does believe he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson, and his policy is pursuing young players and all that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer blatantly made it clear, he wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. We do need to see vast improvements going on into this season, because last season was very disappointing. We finished 6th. We didn't win any silverware, and we haven't won any silverware in the past couple of seasons and all that. So we need to get the right players to Manchester United this summer, to get us back, to being a competitive elite level football club. Obviously, we're not in the Champions League. We're not in the Champions League for next season. Obviously, we are competing in the Europa League next season, so it may be hard for us, to attract players to the elite level. But I do believe our expectations going on into this season probably will be to finish in the top 4. But I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be that top 4. If I'm going to be quite honest with you and all that. But like I said, at the moment, City are strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us. So it's very imperative that we catch up with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, because they are strides ahead of us at the moment. So I don't believe our expectations, going on to this season will be to win the league or chance for a league, because I think we're at least a couple of years off doing that. We obviously haven't won the league, since 2013. Obviously, that was in Alex Ferguson's last season. Obviously, that's over 6 years ago now. And we haven't won much silver, since Alex Ferguson, since 2013. We didn't win out under the David Moyes era. Obviously, won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal era. Won the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, that came in Jose Mourinho's first season and all that. But since Alex Ferguson retired, we've had different managers with different philosophies. A hell of a lot of money has been invested into the club. Players have come in, and of course players have left and all that. But the main reason why we have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years, because we have been mismanaged. This is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been underachieving and all that. So we have been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years, and looking at ultimately Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding. There's still lots to address in the squad, but the majority of this squad is obviously not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did manage the Manchester United reserve team. He watched some of this team at this day and age, grow and develop. And the only players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's at the moment is obviously Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and all that. But I'm hopeful it works out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years, and he flourished under Alex Ferguson. Like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. He hasn't really got the experience of a manager. Not to the highest level. He's got some experience of a manager, and he did prove a great achievement. Because he did win a couple of Norwegian titles with Molde and all that. Solskjaer had a short tenure with Cardiff, but obviously didn't work out for him at Cardiff. But I'm hopeful it can work out for Solskjaer. Don't forget, he knows the culture of the club. He knows the club inside out and all that. And hopefully, it can work out under him, because we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. We've already sacked 3 managers. Since Alex Ferguson retired. So we haven't got the structure, to keep sacking managers and all that. But I would probably give Ole Gunnar Gunnar Solskjaer at least a year or 2 years, to see how it works out and all that. But I do really like him a lot. I hope he has got the stature, to get us in that commanding position where we do currently want to be. But like I said, regardless of where our manager is, no one is going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never going to achieve of what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, for 20 odd years of success. We're never currently going to do that. We just want to be back, being a competitive elite level football club. But players, may still be eager, to come to Manchester United, because we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are the most successful team in England historically. So players, may still want to come to Manchester United, even though we're not in a Champions League football for this season, for next season. Sorry, should I say? But like I did say, very imperative, that we do get our man on one targets. But if we can get this deal secured for Bruno Fernandes, I think this will be good business for Manchester United and Ed Woodward and all that very well. And it was good business, when we did get the deal over the line for Wan-Bissaka. But we get this Bruno Fernandes deal over the line, it will be a very good business from the club. And I do believe, we should just pay, what Sporting Lisbon are currently demanding. Because reflecting back last summer, we paid £50 million for Fred. And, you can't put Fred in, Bruno Fernandes' calibre or level. And, Fred hasn't got a fantastic pedigree. He was a fundamental player when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk. But, he hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United. And don't forget, Fred is actually, one of our most expensive players and all that. I think he's like, our fourth most expensive player, Fred. And, he hasn't really replicated what he did at Shakhtar Donetsk. He did demonstrate himself towards the back end of last season, did Fred, but I still, I'm very sceptical about Fred, and I don't know if he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. So like I said, hopefully, we can get this deal finalised for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, I've been updating you about Sean Longstaff, haven't I? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has instructed, our board, to get a deal completed for Sean Longstaff this week. Sean Longstaff is available for a reasonable figure. Obviously, Sean Longstaff is a cheaper solution than Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, comparing them, Bruno Fernandes is more experienced, but obviously, I'm hopeful that we can get both players on the board. I do believe Newcastle want around £20 million plus add-ons, so I think Sean Longstaff is valued from between 25 to 30 million pounds. Reportedly did say last week, we are preparing to put a bid in of around 15 million pounds, including add-ons. But I think we have been giving a boost in our pursuit of Sean Longstaff, following the departure of Rafael Benitez. So we have been given a boost in our pursuit of Sean Longstaff. But I do believe there's a lot of credibility, in Sean Longstaff to Manchester United, and I do believe, we can get this deal over the line. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has instructed Manchester United just to meet what Newcastle are currently demanding. Sean Longstaff is only 21 years of age. I think he's a primarily central midfielder. Obviously, last season was his first season in the senior squad with Newcastle. I think he made his debut back in December of last year. I think he did play around 11 games under Rafael Benitez last season. I think last season he flourished under Rafael Benitez's guidance. He did put some good performances in and all that, because I did watch Sean Longstaff quite a few times. He is under contract with Newcastle until 2022. He actually began his career with Newcastle. I think he also had loan spells with Kilmarnock and Blackpool. He didn't play the remaining he didn't play the last couple of months of last season due to a knee ligament injury he had sustained back in March. And I do believe that Sean Longstaff, if I'm right, he's still recovering to gain full fitness and all that after he sustained this knee ligament injury back in March. But he's only 21 years of age, plus he's British, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents to Manchester United this summer. But I think he's valued at around 25 or 30 million pounds. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is hopeful that we can get a deal concluded for Sean Longstaff, sometime this week. But do you think he'll do well for Manchester United? Of course, if he does, currently coming. But like I said, there has been quite a lot of midfielders on our current agenda. I've been reading a bit more reports up about Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis. Obviously, I've been updating you about him, on a regular basis. It does say, we're in for him. It also says that Tottenham are in for Giovanni Lo Celso, because obviously, Tottenham want to do transfer activity this summer. Like I said, they haven't done any transfer transfer activity in the last couple of windows. Obviously, the last player Tottenham signed was Lucas Moura, back in January 2018. So obviously, Mauricio Pochettino is going to want back in this summer. I think Tottenham are orchestrating on spending fairly big this summer on players. Like I said, Tottenham are going to want a replacement for Christian Eriksen, but I do believe that Giovanni Lo Celso has been one of Tottenham's priority targets. Like I said, Manchester United, of course, have been in there for him. Obviously, it reported out last month, or was it over a month ago now, saying that Tottenham had lodged a bidding for Giovanni Lo Celso of around £53 million. But obviously, this is too insufficient for Real Betis, and Real Betis had instantly turned this bid down. And I think Real Betis are open to selling him, but I think they're looking for somewhere in the region of around 60 or £70 million. Of course, if they are willing to sell him and all that. Giovanni Lo Celso's release clause is around £88 million. Obviously, he's only 23 years of age. He is Argentinian. Obviously, last season was his first season with Real Betis. Was Giovanni Lo Celso's. He spent the majority of last season on loan with Real Betis, because obviously Real Betis got him from PSG last summer. They paid an initial loan fee of around £2 million, and then obviously back in April, Real Betis had made the deal permanent by paying a further £20 million and all that. So if Real Betis, of course, do sell him, obviously PSG do benefit from it, because they get a percentage of any sale to PSG. But his release clause is around £88 million. Is Giovanni Lo Celso's. I think he scored around 16 goals in all competitions last season in the La Liga. But it does say that Manchester United are in for Giovanni Lo Celso. So Manchester United are battling now with Tottenham for his current services. But Real Betis have said we want in the region of around 60, 70 or 80 million pounds of course. But yeah, Tottenham did have a bid turned down for him over a month ago now, or something like that. So there has been a lot of talks about him going on. Obviously, I think the vast majority of Manchester United fans would like to see James Maddison coming from Leicester. And I like James Maddison a lot. Can score goals, can provide really good creating chances and all that. And he did demonstrate that last season in his first season in the Premier League with Leicester. Last season, James Maddison created more chances than any other player. He also was involved in 14 goals. He did say James Maddison is allegedly interested in making a move to Manchester United, and he did reportedly say he's allegedly interested in making a move to Man United. And he reportedly said he wants to meet up with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he did say he's got strong reservations about joining Manchester United, because obviously we're not in Champions League football. Probably he did say around 3 or 4 weeks ago if Leicester were willing to sell him, they would want around £68 million, because he did say we emerged him as a priority target. And he also said we was willing to pay, he said we made initial contact, and he said if Leicester were willing to sell him, they would want around £60 million like I said. I think we would be more than happy to pay up to £60 million for James Maddison's services. Like I said, he's proven in the Premier League. He played 36 games in the Premier League last season. Obviously, Leicester did get him last summer from Norwich for around £20 million, because he did serve a couple of seasons in the Championship. I think quite a few teams have been tracking him since he was a teenager at Coventry, because that's obviously where he began his career with Coventry. Did James Maddison progressed up the ranks and all that. So he was a product of their academy. He also, I think, had a loan spell in Scotland with Aberdeen. But James Maddison is primarily an attacking midfielder, and he's only 22 years of age. And yeah, I do really like him a lot, and I would love him to come to Manchester United. But I do believe we are actually moving away from the policy of signing them well established players, because as you all know, we have got a history of spending big on players, especially in recent years. Pogba, 8 to 9 million, our most expensive signing. Lukaku, £75 million, obviously our second most expensive sign there and all that. But like I said, if we can sell Pogba, if we can sell Lukaku, both players, of course, are relentlessly linked to a move away from Manchester United. I think we can generate around £200 million for their departures and all that. So I think that's going to help us with our rebuilding process, and of course, it will help us with our transition. So saying about James Maddison, I think he would be a good, adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Yori Tillemans, I think again, he would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba. I think Yori Tillemans' move to Manchester United is probably dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. Potentially, I read there's not been really more additional information that's updated about Yori Tillemans of late. I was reading their reports a couple of days ago, and it does say we have rejected the opportunity to sign Yori Tillemans and all that, because we have inquired about his services, because I think he is very built for a reasonable figure, and quite a lot of people have said we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. I think Monaco do rate Youri Tielemans at around £40 million. He's under contract with Monaco until 2022. Youri Tielemans' tenacity is really, really good. His movement's really, really good. He can score goals. He can provide, and obviously he's had around 5 or 6 months of experience under his belt in the Premier League, because he had initially been on loan with Leicester, since January. Was very, very impressive throughout his loan spell with Leicester, but obviously he has now returned to Monaco. But I think Youri Tielemans has confirmed he will not be staying with Monaco next season. Leicester have been in talks with Monaco over getting a deal concluded and all that. They've been in talks with Monaco of getting a deal concluded because I think it's initially in Leicester's plans and Brendan Rodgers' his plans, to link up, Youri Tielemans with James Maddison in midfield, because probably Leicester believe there'll be a good partnership and they'll complement each other really, really well and all that. But yeah, we have been in there for Youri Tielemans, and I think we were also tracking Youri Tielemans when he was a teenager at Anderlecht and all that, because that's obviously where he began his career. Did Youri Tielemans with Anderlecht. I think also Tottenham have inquired about his services, also Manchester City and that have been in there for him. I think also at one point Arsenal were in there for Youri Tielemans, and he is only 22 years of age. So again, I do think he would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, Ivan Rakitic from Barcelona, quite a lot of reports came out around in the media last week about Ivan Rakitic, saying now reportedly we have rekindled our interest in Ivan Rakitic. We've rekindled our interest in Ivan Rakitic, so we have inquired about his services yet again. It reflecting back, was it 3 weeks ago, something like that. It did say we'd inquired about Ivan Rakitic's services. It did say, I think it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's main priority target, to replace Paul Pogba, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has instructed Manchester United to sign Ivan Rakitic, to replace Paul Pogba and all that. Barcelona are open to selling Ivan Rakitic. I think they want somewhere in the region of around £45 million. He did confirm that we'd offered around £31 million for his services, but obviously that's too insufficient for Barcelona, because like I said, they want around £45 million. Ernesto Valverde, the Barcelona manager, did confirm they're willing to offload Ivan Rakitic, if a suitable offer comes in, and obviously if Barcelona can find an adequate replacement for him. And obviously Barcelona have got Frankie de Jong on the board this summer, but obviously I think they'll be looking to maybe add maybe another midfielder in, or maybe even a couple of more midfielders, and then obviously Ivan Rakitic will find himself surplus to requirements. So Ivan Rakitic has found himself surplus to requirements. I think he's actually been linked to a move to Inter Milan, but like I said, I would have reservations about us bringing Ivan Rakitic in. Even though I admire his career, I think he's had a fantastic career. I think Ivan Rakitic has got a fantastic pedigree and all that, but he's aging up now. He's 31 years of age. Obviously the majority of Ivan Rakic's silverware he has won has obviously become at Barcelona. Obviously he has served 5 years with Barcelona. He scored around 28 goals for Barcelona in all competitions. I think he's played about 169 games in the La Liga for Barcelona. I still believe he's got around 2 years, or is it 3 years left on his deal with Barcelona. But he's, I think he can play as a central midfielder, and he can also play as an attacking midfielder. But I do believe if he came to the Premier League now at this day and age, I don't think he would succeed in the Premier League. I don't think he'd exceed expectation levels in the Premier League, and this is probably why I don't want him at Manchester United. Maybe I may be proven wrong, but like I said, I've got reservations about us, bringing Ivan Rakitic in. Obviously, before Ivan Rakitic was at Barcelona, he was at Sevilla. He had served about 3 years with Sevilla. I think he won the Europa League with Sevilla. Before he was at Sevilla, I think he served about 3.5 years with Schalke, and as a youngster, he began his career with Barcelona and all that. So analysing it, he's had a really, really good career as Ivan Rakitic, but Barcelona do want to offload him. I think from Ivan Rakic's perspective, he's got no intentions of leaving Barcelona and all that, but reportedly says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is keen on recommending him in. So there's been so many names on our agenda, who could replace Paul Pogba at the football club. But like I said, probably around 4 or 5 players are expected, to leave Manchester United this summer. So we do know Valencia's left the club. Obviously, he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously, it's good news that we got our replacement in for Valencia in Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, we know Ander Herrera, of course, has left on a free transfer. It's looking very imminent that the likes of Darwin and Rojo are going to be leaving the club, because obviously Darwin and Rojo both endured difficult times at Manchester United. And I think we can generate around 25 or 30 million pounds for their departures. So that's going to help us with our rebuilding process. Like I did say with Alexis Sanchez, I'm still very sceptical about Alexis Sanchez leaving, reflecting on his substantial wages and all that. I don't think any teams can afford, to pay his current wages off. This is why Manchester United are struggling, to offload him. Like I said, Sanchez's wages are having a really, really bad effect on the football club. He's on 400 grand a week, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week, based on image rights and the bonuses and all that. And he's the highest paid player in the club, of course. He's the highest paid player in the Premier League, is Alexis Sanchez. And I think we've got to find a way to get rid of him. And I think the only way we can get rid of Sanchez is if we come to an agreement to let him go on a long-season loan, and Manchester United come to some sort of agreement, to pay half of his wages off him and all that. But Sanchez, looking at it, doesn't have a future at the club. He's 30 or he's 31 now. He has lost that yard of pace. And Sanchez did have 4 good years. When he was at Arsenal, he even played under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona, and did thrive under Guardiola's guidance. But he just hasn't, replicated this at Manchester United and all that. He has been here since January 2018. But I think the club are doing everything they can, to offload Alexis Sanchez. So he has been a huge disappointment. He's lacked goals. He hasn't been really a first choice anywhere. Also, has become injury prone since he has come to Manchester United. Because have you noticed? He sustained about, was it 3 or 4 injuries, last season. So, he could possibly, still continue playing his trade with Manchester United this season. We do know now De Gea and of course Juan Mata are staying at the club. But like I've been updating you about Paul Pogba on a regular basis, as I did update you at the early hours of this morning, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is set to hold talks with Paul Pogba. I think tomorrow, tomorrow he's set to hold talks with Paul Pogba regarding his future. He did say last week that Paul Pogba, will ask Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to let him leave. But I think sometime this week, Paul Pogba is set to demand a transfer exit from Manchester United and all that. And I think he's actually set to make a personal plea to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to allow him to leave Manchester United. But we do know Paul Pogba confirmed a couple of weeks ago, he's seeking for a new challenge. Obviously, he had he told reporters in Tokyo about this. And also, Paul Pogba, publicly admitted that he wants to leave Manchester United for the first time and all that. Because like he did say, he's seeking for a new challenge. Obviously, Paul Pogba that, wants to rejuvenate his career. And he even did say he was willing to go on strike, to force a move away from Manchester United and all that. But we do know Paul Pogba, has been subject to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation and all that. We do know he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid and Juventus, because it is Real Madrid and Juventus that are battling out for Paul Pogba's services. We do know for quite some time that Paul Pogba's first choice preference has been Real Madrid. We do know, obviously, his likely destination has been Real Madrid and all that. But there has been a bit of a change of scenery, because I was reading a lot of reports last week, and it did say Paul Pogba is actually not keen on making the return back to Turin and all that. And Juventus are interested in re-signing him. Obviously, Juventus have been in negotiations with his agent Mini Raiola over getting a possible deal concluded and all that. And it also got confirmed a couple of weeks ago that the Juventus director had travelled to London, to hold a negotiation with Manchester United over the possibility of re-signing Paul Pogba. Like I said, Juventus have got a budget this summer. They're doing really good business so far in this window. Obviously, they've got Matthijs de Ligt on the board, or they are set to get Matthijs de Ligt on the board. They're looking at they're going to get Adrian Rabiot on the board. Obviously, they've got Aaron Ramsey and that on the board. So, like I did say, based on the huge transfer fee, that we have put on Paul Pogba, we recently indicated, of course, that he's not for sale. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing everything he can, to try and convince him to stay at the football club. But it did say, we would accept a bid in the region of around £150 million. But probably more than likely, for Juventus to fund the move for Paul Pogba, they maybe would have to offload at least 1 or 2 of their essential players as part of the deal. But recently, the Juventus director, was, explaining, of how much, Juventus love Paul Pogba and all that. Because, like I said, he did have 4 good years in Turin. He exceeded expectation levels. But really, he hasn't really, replicated this form since he did make the return to Manchester United. Paul Pogba hasn't been the fundamental player as we all thought him he currently would have been. But I'd still say now at this day and age, he is worth in the region of around 140 or 150 million pounds. We do potentially now still believe that, one of Zinedine Zidane's main priority targets is Paul Pogba and all that. Obviously, Real Madrid have done good business so far this summer. Obviously, they've signed 5 players. I think Real Madrid have spent over £300 million. Obviously, they spent £150 million of that on Eden Hazard. Real Madrid are reluctant to pay up to the £150 million for Paul Pogba. So he did say Real Madrid are willing to offer load 1 or 2 of their players as part of the deal to lure Paul Pogba away from Old Trafford. Obviously, it came out quite a few weeks back saying there was willing to offer us Gareth Bale in a transfer offer for Paul Pogba, because obviously Real Madrid want to offload Gareth Bale. So if Paul Pogba does go to Real Madrid, there may be still a possibility chance that Gareth Bale could be still part of the deal and all that. Obviously, I'm reading reports the other day, it did say Real Madrid will offer us Isco as part of the deal for Paul Pogba. But like I did say with Isco, I think he's a really, really good player. He's primarily an attacking midfielder. He's 27 years of age and all that, and he's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. So far, Isco has spent the entirety of his career in Spain, and to be fair to Isco, he has had a good career. His pedigree's been really, really good, and I do believe I'd have all the confidence if he came to a Premier League Isco, he would exceed expectations levels and he would succeed. But I think if he came to Manchester United, I just don't think he'd fit in our system. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, if you get what I mean. If he was to go to maybe Manchester City or Liverpool or something like that, I think he'd fit in their system, but I don't think he'd fit in a Manchester United system. Isco, obviously Isco's been at Real Madrid 6 years. I think he's made about 277 appearances for them in all competitions, but Isco has been subject to transfer speculation because obviously last season he enjoyed a difficult season there with Real Madrid, and the majority of his appearances there last season came on the bench, especially under Santiago Solari and all that. I do believe I think Isco is under contract with Real Madrid until 2022 and all that. But I think Real Madrid did pay around £27 million for his services for Malaga back in 2013. I think he actually began his career with Valencia. But Isco's played in numerous positions, before he's played in various other positions. But I think he mainly now plays as an attacking midfielder. But discarding Isco as being part of any swap deal, it will cost you quite a bit of money. It definitely probably cost you in the excess of around £100 million. Maybe even more than that. But yeah, said Real Madrid were willing to offer him as part of the deal for Paul Pogba. But the couple of main factors why probably Paul Pogba wants to leave the football club, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, and of course he isn't playing amongst good enough players at Manchester United. Maybe he is frustrated with the lack of competitiveness. Maybe he wants to be in Champions League football and all that, and of course he's experiencing none of this at Manchester United. But I do believe it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan to actually build a side around Paul Pogba. But we do know Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his current deal with Manchester United, with an option to extend by a further year. But we do know Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, at least in the last couple of months, has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club. Reflecting back about 5-6 weeks ago, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was willing to offer Paul Pogba the captaincy in a bid, to convince him to remain in the football club. But like I said, Paul Pogba, with the club, has won the Europa League and the League Cup. Obviously, that came in his second season with Manchester United. But reflecting back last year, Paul Pogba was subject to a lot of transfer speculation, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, there was talks about him going to Juventus last year. There was also talks about him, going to Barcelona back in January. And we have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form. We only saw it in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager, because Paul Pogba was in scintillating form. He was scoring goals, he was providing, and we only saw the best of Paul Pogba when Ander Herrera was playing. So that just proves how much of an impact Ander Herrera did make in that midfield and all that. Reports came out the other week saying that we was willing to offer Paul Pogba a long-term contract, worth up to around £500,000 a week. Obviously, this would make Paul Pogba the highest paid player at the club alongside Alexis Sanchez and all that. But I just think it's pointless as doing that. So I think probably we do need to offload Paul Pogba, to be quite honest with you. But it's very, very essential, of course, that we do get a replacement for him. Obviously, as I've been updating you on a regular basis in regards to Romelu Lukaku and all that, we do know that Lukaku has been relentlessly linked with move to Inter Milan. Obviously, reports confirmed last week that Lukaku's agent, I think it was actually, it was last Tuesday of last week, that Lukaku's agent was in Milan. He held negotiations over Inter Milan, because Lukaku's agent, I think, is doing everything he can, trying to get Lukaku's transfer to Inter Milan completed. I think Lukaku's agent believes that Lukaku wants to leave Manchester United. United, and Lukaku's agent, says, that Inter Milan, of course, are still trying to sign him and all that. But I think Inter Milan are trying to generate funds, of course, so they're willing to offload a couple of their players, to generate funds, to meet that £75 million valuation, because, we blatantly made it clear, want around £75 million for Romelu Lukaku. So basically, we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago, because we did get him for £75 million initially, but there were several add-ons included in the deal, which £15 million, which did potentially rise to around £90 million. And Lukaku's still got 3 years left on his contract with the club, and he's actually the second. He's our second most expensive player, and of course he's also one of the highest paid players at Manchester United and all that. But the fee seems to be problematic, for Inter Milan at the moment. Inter Milan have been negotiating, with us over coming to an agreement on a fee. I do believe everything has been agreed between Inter Milan and Romelu Lukaku except the fee. I do believe the personal terms have been agreed. I think also Lukaku has agreed. Has agreed a deal with Inter Milan with around £180,000 a week. Obviously, a lot of reports are reflecting out last week. This was coming from Sky in Italy. They said Inter Milan, were willing to pay a £9 million loan fee, to take Lukaku out on loan for the next 2 seasons, with then the obligation to buy for the further £54 million at the end of the loan. So that obviously, does mount up to around £63 million in total. But more than likely, Manchester United will reject this, because I don't think we're keen on offloading Romelu Lukaku on loan. I think we're only willing to do business. We're only willing to get rid of him permanently and all that. So more than likely, Manchester United will turn this down. But I think we need to get rid of Romelu Lukaku, because obviously he's one of the problematic players at Manchester United. Obviously, Lukaku has served 2 years at the club. He's served 2 years at the club. Obviously, he scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions, and Lukaku, was exceptional in his first season, because actually, he was a first choice under Jose Mourinho, but since Jose Mourinho's departure and all that, obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been recommended in, obviously we do know Rashford has been first choice ahead of Romelu Lukaku, and Romelu Lukaku is reluctant, to play a backup role to Marcus Rashford. But Lukaku was good in his first season, like I said, but he didn't really replicate that in his second season, of course. And I've got strong reservations about him. Like I said, his first touch concerns me. He's a big game bottle. He hasn't got Lettinger's potential. Doesn't really get enough of them runs in behind him and all that. So I have got strong reservations about Romelu Lukaku. But I'll give him the credit. His ratio is very, very good in the Premier League, and his pedigree is very, very good in the Premier League, because he has scored a lot of goals in the Premier League as Romelu Lukaku and all that. But I think Lukaku wants to leave Manchester United. He wants a new challenge. He wants to rejuvenate his career, and he's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. He is only 26 years of age. Obviously, Lukaku recently described Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. So Lukaku is eager to play under Antonio Conte's guidance, because probably Lukaku believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance. And obviously, Antonio Conte has identified him as his number one target and all that. But reflecting back a couple of years ago, when Antonio Conte was the manager of Chelsea at that point, he wanted Romelu Lukaku, but obviously, he ended up making the move to Manchester United. But there's been quite a few players on our agenda, who could replace Romelu Lukaku at the football club. Obviously, Inter Milan have tried offering us Mario Cardi as part of the deal for Romelu Lukaku. Also, it confirmed a couple of weeks ago they tried offering us Ivan Perisic plus cash for Romelu Lukaku, but we'd instantly turn this down, because obviously Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target and all that. He was a long-term target under Mourinho, but he's no longer now a Manchester United target is Ivan Perisic. So there's been quite a few players on our agenda, who could replace Romelu Lukaku, and I've been reading more reports up about Wissam Ben Yedder from Sevilla. Now, it does reportedly say, according to the Sports Review and all that, reportedly Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Wissam Ben Yedder, and it does say, we have everything agreed, to sign Wissam Ben Yedder. But I think Wissam Ben Yedder's move to Manchester United is dependent on what happens, of course, with Romelu Lukaku. So I think we're only willing to go in for Wissam Ben Yedder if, of course, if Romelu Lukaku, does depart the football club and all that. But Wissam Ben Yedder is available for a reasonable figure. I think his initial release clause is around £36 million and all that. I think he's got 2 years remaining on his contract with Sevilla. Obviously, he has served 3 years with Sevilla. Sevilla did get him from Toulouse back in 2016 for around £9 million. I think his goal scoring pedigree is supposed to be very, very good. He's a forward. I think last season for Sevilla, his stats were very, very impressive last season. I think he scored 30 goals goals and provided 11 assists in 54 games in all competitions there last season for Sevilla and all that. But I think according to the Spanish press, they've said, he's that Wissam Ben Yedder is keen on making a move to Manchester United, despite that PSG and Barcelona have been interested. Reportedly, Wissam Ben Yedder is keen on making a move to Manchester United and all that. So it does say, we have currently been in for him. It does say, we have currently, been in for Wissam Ben Yedder and all that. Obviously, we've also been in for Paulo Dybala. Who've obviously been in for Paulo Dybala, he's been spoken about quite a lot. So do you think he'd be a good adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku? Obviously, we know with Griezmann, as he updated you a couple of days ago about Anton Griezmann, I think it's probably looking likely he's going to be going to Barcelona. Is Anton Griezmann, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Even though it did say, we are orchestrating on, hijacking Barcelona's move for Anton Griezmann. And in a way, I think it did say, we are attempting to convince Griezmann that Barcelona's number one target is actually Neymar, because obviously, Barcelona do want to re-sign Neymar and all that. It came out about this story about Griezmann about 2 or 3 weeks ago, saying that we were set to hijack Barcelona's move for him. It says we was willing to smash our own transfer record by offering around £95 million for Griezmann's services and all that. But at one point it did say Barcelona have got second thoughts about getting him, and it did say Barcelona of course had reservations. I think Griezmann increasingly become frustrated about this, but it does allegedly say that Griezmann has agreed a 5-year contract with Barcelona worth around £15 million a year, and reportedly he has agreed the personal terms with Barcelona. Griezmann's release clause now has reduced to around £107 million. It was initially 170 odd million, but it has been now reduced to £107 million, and I think it got reduced yesterday and all that. Obviously Griezmann was on the verge of joining Barcelona last summer, but due to that he signed a new long-term contract with Atletico Madrid. He remained loyal to Atletico Madrid. But Griezmann, did say a month or so ago, he did say a month or so ago, he'd made an admission that he's going to be leaving Atletico Madrid and all that. Reflecting back a couple of years ago, we was on the verge of getting Griezmann, but due to a transfer ban, of course, Griezmann's move to Manchester United, never materialised. He is 28 years of age, is Griezmann, and he has, still got quite a lot of development in him. I don't think he's the fundamental player as he was a couple of years ago, but his goal scoring pedigree is fantastic. For Atletico Madrid, he scored 133 goals in 257 games in all competitions, so that's very, very impressive. But maybe the main factor is why I said why he's leaving Atletico Madrid, because maybe he's frustrated with a lack of competitiveness. He's been a long-serving player for them. He's served 5 years with Atletico Madrid, and the only major honour he had won with Atletico Madrid was obviously the Europa League last year. But Griezmann has spent the entirety of his career so far in Spain, but looking like he's going to be going to Barcelona, so he will continue playing his trade in Spain and all that, so he won't come to Manchester United. Griezmann, but we did see him as an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, who could replace Romelu Lukaku at the football club? And of course, that is the question. I'm still sceptical of Manchester United, bringing a right winger in. Still very, very sceptical about that. Because like I did say, we need to adjust that right hand side. We have got, Anwan Bissaka in as that right back. We've addressed that right back position, which is very, very good. But now I think the club need to get a right winger in, someone that can link up with the likes of Martial and Rashford. And there has been quite a few winners on our agenda. Like I said, the likes of Jadon Sancho and, Nicolas Pepe, would be good solutions. I think there would be a much better solution than Gareth Bale. But I doubt at this moment in time that Manchester United, of course, are going to get a right winner in. We definitely need to get a central defender. I think we need at least one central defender. We need someone that can partner alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. That's very, very essential. We need someone that could complement him in our back line. Quite a lot of Manchester United fans have probably said, we need 2 central defenders, because we have got issues defensively. And we haven't had a world-class central defender, since we had the likes of Vidic, and of course, since we had the likes of Fernandes and all that. And like I said, Smalling and Jones are not good enough now for Manchester United. They're not good enough to represent Manchester United. Smalling and Jones, of course, have been 2 long-serving players at the club. So anyway, guys, that's mainly everything to update today. So the main part of this video was to give you more additional information about Bruno Fernandes. Now it does say reportedly Manchester United have reached an agreement with Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon and all that. He reportedly said yesterday according to reports in Italy, we'd held negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' representatives and all that. And I think initially, there is an agreement now in place. Obviously, the stumbling block though is the fee. We need to now come to an agreement on the fee, and that's something we've got to work on. So I do believe more talks will go on between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon and all that over getting a deal concluded. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.